The Viking Preparedness. I'm Pastor Joe Fox. You ever see that movie Goodbye World? It's a relatively new movie. I think you can get it free on Netflix or something, probably Redbox it, I don't know. It's worth a watch. It's about a group of 30-somethings. The world ends. I think there's a huge computer virus or something. They all end up in a cabin in the woods, and that's kind of where the movie goes. Interesting movie. Well, there's a lot going on in the world, right? Look at Drudge, look at whatever your news source is. Now, we realize that the MSM, the mainstream media, they have an agenda. If you read it there, it's probably not true, but there's elements of the truth, and you have to discern what's going on. But to my eye, it looks like we keep pushing the Russian bear, push, 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 push. Maybe the military-industrial complex wants to make some money, right? I don't know. I think I was talking to my wife this morning, pushing Russia, we think we're going to go jab, 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 and then maybe Russia will get mad enough and take a couple swings at us, metaphorically speaking, which then is good for business, right? Maybe Russia will come out with a hammer instead of a jab. Maybe they'll come out with a sword, It's like, ooh, not the fight we thought we were going to be in. And yet we're starting it. It's kind of how I look at it. I don't really see Russia taking a whole lot of aggressive moves, and I see us poking all around their border and messing with them. I don't know that we necessarily want to do that. And of course, there's the whole Israel-Iran nuke thing. There's the Saudi Arabia forming their coalition thing. Where's that going to go? And whatever happened to Syria? You notice how we don't hear about Syria anymore? Interesting how the media does that, right? They talk about something like it's so darn important. What about ISIS? When was the last time you heard about ISIS making these great gains in Iraq? Remember how they were going and they were going to run over a base in Mosul where, there were 300 Americans or something, and all of a sudden it just dropped off the news. Let's not talk about that anymore. We're being played, but the reality is there is stuff happening out there. Look at the attitude of Americans. There's Americans that are out there, us, that are, Jade Helm's going to be martial law, or this is going to happen, or Obama's going to do this, executive orders, dun, 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 dun. I mean, the people are on edge. Look at Ferguson, It's just going to take a little spark, maybe, and things could blow up. Okay, now, a lot of us are spending a lot of time on channels like this and other channels reading about it and then commenting about it and then going over here and listening to Alex Jones and commenting and going to these forums and those forums, and we're spending all day sitting in front of our computer devices, stuffing our yap with food. And somebody gave me the term, which I'm sure some of you have heard, fear porn, right? And then Maine Prepper was talking about the concept of people who like to be constantly in this agitated state, and it has something to do with the dopamine dump into your body and stuff like that. I've always been a guy that when I start getting worried about something, I take action. And that's what I'm recommending for you to do in this video, is take some action, man. Relieve some of that fear, relieve some of that anxiety, take some steps that will make you know that you're going to be okay, you and yours, right? And you know what those steps are. I have 600 videos. You can go back and look at them. Store food, make friends, get out in the woods and practice your skills. If you shoot from something other than a bench. Get out there and actually run. Maybe do a 100-yard dash, do 50 burpees, and then start shooting and see how that feels. Take some real action. Go shopping. I remember when we lived in Kansas, and excuse me, it's early. I'm just getting up. When we lived in Kansas, and every now and then, the political situation, and plus then I had different clearances so I could see things maybe that most people couldn't see. I mean, literally see them on my computer screen. Whenever my personal tension level would go up, I'd go buy a whole bunch of Progresso soup, and the way I looked at it, a can of Progresso soup was like a meal in a can, right? And if you had company, you could just make a lot of rice or noodles, heat up one can of the soup, pour it on, and you could feed more people. And so I would build these little pyramids of Progresso soup, and I had 3 kids in college, and my rotation plan was my kids would come home for the weekend from college and say, oh, Dad's got Progresso soup. And they'd grab like 6 or 7 of them and take them back to school because, yeah, it's a meal in a can. And so, it all worked out. But I would take that action because then I would look at it and go, okay, I've got even more food than I stored up before, and it made me feel comfortable. Hey, somebody will probably comment, that's a psychosis all of its own. Whatever. I'm just telling you, try not to live the tension-filled life. Try to take some positive steps and maybe take a walk in the woods. I mean, look at this. Listen to this bird. Yeah, so now he's quiet. Now he's quiet, right? I mean, that's what we're surrounded by. Why is that? We made sacrifices to come out here and live this way, but we did it for a couple reasons. Number one was to get closer to the Most High, to God, and get away from the noise that I'm kind of talking about. But a second strong one is to start living a more self-sufficient life. And why do we want to live a more self-sufficient life? Because it helps us get closer to God, but also, yeah, tough times are coming, and not having to depend on other people as much is a good thing. We've got a bunch of saints rolling in. They started last night. They'll be rolling in for the next few days for Passover. Hang out, fellowship, talk about the world situation, talk about life, gathering together with people of like mind. Why don't you do that? Start making some friends, gather together, discuss things, take some action, build something, store something, practice something. Focus on something good. Try to spend at least as much time and psychic energy preparing for what you think is coming as you do researching it and talking about it. All right, I'll see you out there.